Okay, so they give us an equation, but this equation is in general form, not standard form. So we'd really like to get it in standard form. Now, you know that with the hyperbola, we have two types of equations. Either the x squared's first minus the y squared part, or the y squared's first minus the x squared part. And different things can happen. So it looks right now like we have x squared being positive and y squared being negative. So we'll go with that and we'll see what happens. When we get this all done, then they want us to graph it and find the center, vertices, covertices, foci, and asymptotes. The graph paper for this is on the next page, so I just didn't have enough room, I found. All right, what we have to do is we have to do the completing the square like we did with the ellipse. So we did a problem similar to this with an ellipse. So I'm going to leave a little space. I guess I don't have to yet. And then it's going to be minus 4y squared minus 40y. And then I'm going to put the 388 on the other side. So it's going to be equals 388. So that's kind of how we start. I'm going to factor out a 9. And then I'll leave some space there. I'm going to factor out a negative 4 because it has to be in that form something minus something, right? For it to be the hyperbola. That's going to make that a plus 10y. Okay, so that's kind of important. We get all that in. So think about that, factoring out that negative 4. Okay, now we want to complete the square. So we take the 4, take half of it, and square it. That's going to be plus 4. But really, we didn't add 4. We really added 36. So we'll add 36 to the other side. And then the 10y, we're going to take half of that, which is 5. And 5 squared is 25. But it was really a negative 100. Okay, so now what does my equation look like? I've got 9 times x minus 2 squared minus 4 times y plus 5 squared equals, and then what do I get? 288 plus 36, which is 344. I wonder what 344, 344 is. Well, we'll put it here. Okay, wait a minute. It's not 344. It's 324. I just can't add. 324. Okay, so let's put that there. Now remember, for a hyperbola, it needs to be equal to 1. So we're going to divide everything by 324. And hopefully 9 goes into 324. I'm going to use a calculator to check that out. Let's see. What do we get? 324 divided by 9. Yep, it's 36. So now I have x minus 2 squared over 36. So, and then 4 is going to go into 324. Y plus 5 squared, and I'm going to get 81 here. Okay, that is in the standard form then for a hyperbola. And that's one of the things they wanted. Now, do we know what a squared is? Yes, we know a squared is 36. Do we know b squared? Yes, b squared is 81. That means a is equal to 6 and b is equal to 9. And you can put plus or minus in front of these because we know how we're going to graph those. Now, we would still have to figure out what c is. C squared is going to equal a squared plus b squared. And so c squared is going to equal 36 plus 81, which is what? 117? Yes. Okay, now, if I want to know what c is going to equal plus or minus the square root. Plus or minus the square root of 117. Now, I know 9 goes into that. So 9 times, let's see, 13. So that simplifies to be 3 plus or minus 3 times the square root of 13 for C. And we really just need that for the foci, but we'll just keep that in mind. Okay, so now we should be able to graph it. So remember A is 6 and B is 9. By the way, is this a side to side or an up and down? It's a side to side. So it's going to be going like this and like this. Okay, so I wish I had all that. Okay, A was 6, so we're going to put 6, 1, 2. Right there. Oh, no, we don't want that yet. I forgot about H and K. So I got to scroll back up and find where my center is. I was all excited to get the A, B, and C. Okay, so from here we know that H is 2. H is 2 and K is -5. So the center is at 2, -5. And that was one of the things they want us to know, the center. Okay, so center is at 2, -5. Okay, so now let's graph the center. 2, -5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think my graph paper is going to be too small. Okay, that's the center. Then the vertices are going to be 6 to the left and 6 to the right. So right there's going to be a vertex. Let's put it in black. And then over here will be the other vertex. Okay, so we've got that. Now we need the co-vertices. The co-vertices were based on B, and B was 9 if I'm remembering right. Yeah. So I need to go up 9. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And down 9, which is going to be like down here. I'm off my graph paper now. Rulers help with this type of thing. Okay, I'll just scroll it up a little bit. And so my asymptotes are going through, I have to go through the origin, or not the origin, the center. Kind of missed it there. Like that. Okay, so the actual hyperbola is going this way. It's pretty big, pretty wide. And a lot of times they are, but not always. So it looks something like that. Okay, that's the graph. It's not a great graph, but that's what it is. And then we can tell what the vertices are. They are at this point right here. So, well, let me do the point on the left first. So that's at -4, -5. And the other one is at 8, -5. So those were the vertices. The co-vertices we can read these off the chart. It was actually, I have to scroll because I made my graph paper so big, but it was down here, and if you remember, this has to be 9. So it was 5 here and then 4 more. So what is that? It was 10. It's like -14, right? So it's going to be at -2, -14. That's going to be the low one. And then the other one, that'll be a little bit easier to read because it's just right there. We can read that off the graph. And that's going to be, did I say -2? It should be a +2. And then +2, 4. Okay, and you could think about the conjugate axis, if that's the right length, and things like that. So we have the center, we have the vertices, we have the co-vertices, and the foci. Where are those foci going to be? We know that C is the square root of 17, or 3 times the square root of 13. So our vertices, our foci are going to be like over here in some place, right? But we can use the actual formula for that. So if you remember, we're going to have to take H plus or minus c, comma, k. And we know h and we know k. So, and we know c. So ours are going to be 2 plus or minus, I'll just use the plus or minus, 3 times the square root of 13, comma, negative 5. And if you want to write them separately, you can. 2 minus 3 square root 13, comma, negative 5. And then the other one is 2 plus 3 times the square root of 13, comma, negative 5. And then the other thing we have to do are the asymptotes. So the asymptotes for this kind of hyperbola, a side-to-side one, are y equals plus or minus b over a x minus h plus k. And ours is going to be, we know all of the things, right? So I'll use the plus or minus. What was my b? I think it was 9. And my a was 6. My h was 2. And my k was minus 5. So I need to just reduce that fraction. Okay, so that's the asymptotes there. Here are the foci. And then the other stuff we had up here, the center, the vertices, and the co-vertices. Okay, so that's probably the longest, hardest problem that you could have.